Yo, Arkey here. 4.3 is live. I'm not even kidding. A lot of minor tweaks were made to most classes, and if you ask me, it's all for the best. But some of these changes are critical for Ellie. First of all, let's talk about the 25% buff to Mortal Strike. Well, at first I thought it was going to be a pretty big nerf since as Ellie I usually off-heal a lot, but we're still really far from the 50% pre-Cataclysm Mortal Strike, so it's not so bad. Actually, if you ask me, it's a buff because we're going to be facing a lot more melee cleaves in Arena, and we have a powerful root totem to deal with them. The second big change to Ellie is the buff to Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning can now be spammed completely. It has no cooldown. And until you've actually tried it, you have no idea how much damage Chain Lightning spam can do. It's actually ridiculous. If you ask me, Chain Lightning does more damage than Lava Burst when spammed. So when your Flame Shot gets dispelled, you don't necessarily have to spam some weak bolts anymore. You can put out so much pressure by spamming Chain Lightning. It's actually ridiculous. Also, if your Chain Lightning bounces to 3 targets, all 3 of them will have a chance to give you mana back and to proc the Rolling Thunder talent. You can usually have a full 9 stacks Fulmination within seconds after only about 2 Chain Lightnings. Keep in mind, if your Chain Lightning overloads, every single bounce from the overload has a chance to give you mana back also. This makes Chain Lightning spamming a great way to fill up your mana bar. The other elemental changes were pretty minor. We got a slight spell power buff, which is welcome. Our Flame Tongue weapon got reworked. It now gives 5% magic damage. Keep in mind that number goes up to 7% if talented. Other than that, Earthquake's damage was buffed by 75%. Now that's a pretty dumb change if you ask me. The devs really want Shamans to start using Earthquake, but that's never going to happen, especially if they give us an even better source of AoE damage at the same time. To be honest, I can think of at least 10 things they could have changed to Earthquake to make it good for PvP. They could have changed the mana cost, the cast time, the range, the radius, the rate at which it ticks, the proc chance, but no, they decided to buff the damage, which is completely useless. That's alright, maybe it'll become better next expansion. For Restoration, Wind Shear was severely nerfed. It now has a cooldown of 15 seconds. If you ask me, that change was needed, and it's not so bad because they also got a pretty big buff to healing output, so it should be enough to offset the nerf. If you ask me, Shamans are still going to be great healers in PvP. And for enhancement, well, they got fixed a little bit. Nothing's perfect. They still have some pretty broken mechanics, like the fact that they can't even get mana back from fully absorbed melee attacks. But that's okay. That's a step forward. If you ask me, they'll be good this season. And the last thing I want to talk about is not in the patch notes. I just want to talk about the general item level scaling over the patches. Well, remember how bad mana returns used to be for Ellie back in early Cataclysm? Well, they were kinda decent in 4.2, and the only real thing that changed was that our mana pools got bigger with the item level inflation. So my guess is that with the new item level inflation from this season, mana returns will become a lot better. Plus, with the buff to Chain Lightning, I think we won't have any mana issues anymore, once we get best in slot at least. This is it for now, guys. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for some more PvP action.